right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, interest rates rise for the 5th time this year. Is there a limit on rate hikes? We verify.
The chilly change has arrived on schedule. Just how long the rain lingers in our area.
But first tonight, flooding is still taking its toll.
This whole area was impacted by the flood, so us being open, it just gives us a chance to, just help others that were impacted as well.
The struggle to repair and reopen local businesses.
It's been nearly 2 months since historic flooding wiped out the Florissant Meadows Shopping Center. Good evening. Thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski is live at that shopping center tonight, where many of the businesses remain closed. Laura.
They do, Mike and Ann. St. Vincent de Paul thrift store is one of the only ones that was able to open after the flooding, and they're still working to rebuild the inside. St. Vincent de Paul Florissant receiver and stocker Nate Gridine says they were able to reopen about a month after the flood.
We mainly had to clean up. They had to, clean the floors, run humidifiers through the building just to make it up and running again. But we're back now.
But they're still working to rebuild.
They still have to do about 2 feet high drywall throughout the building because they had to cut about 2 feet high around the whole building. So we're waiting on that to be redone.
They lost a lot of items and are in need of donations, particularly furniture and clothes, so they can continue to help residents who lost everything.
Mostly our furniture, because that was all on the ground and all that. So we had to get rid of most of the furniture that's here. We got rid of things that were like on the bottom shelf throughout the store because the water was about 2 feet high.
Residents are grateful the store is open and are hoping for the best.
Hopefully they'll all be open again soon. My sister loves Dollar Tree. She used to go there like almost every other day, and they're hurting.
Another major store impacted in this center is the license office. It's still closed, forcing people to go across town.
Usually it's like a 15-minute wait. Now it's like an hour, 2-hour wait to go in there. So that's really impacted a lot of people that, weren't even coming over to this area, the other part of Florissant. So.
The Florissant Mayor's office says that they have been working to expedite permits and waiving fees to help these businesses get back on their feet. Reporting live in Florissant, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
And flood victims in the St. Louis region will soon have fewer places to go for help. FEMA will close 2 of its disaster recovery centers next week. The center in O'Fallon, Missouri will close September 28th. The location of the Salvation Army Temple Center on Arsenal, South St. Louis, will close October 1st. The locations in Ferguson, Hazelwood, University City, and Rankin Technical College will remain open.
Developing out of Lincoln County, the city of Moscow Mills is experiencing a full failure of its water system, meaning the entire city is without water tonight. Officials say it's because of equipment failure at the Met Road water tower. Supply chain issues have made it difficult to locate the parts they need. The city is hoping to begin pumping water again overnight. Once the water starts flowing again, the city will be under a mandatory boil order until noon on Saturday.
The man found guilty of killing a North County co-op officer will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Today, a judge sentenced Bonette Meeks to a life in prison plus 40 years. He was convicted of second-degree murder for the death of Officer Michael Langsdorf. Langsdorf was shot and killed in June 2019 while investigating a bad check report at the Wellston Market. His family says they finally have justice.
It just made us very proud that our son was such a good person to so many people. This day has been long in coming. We've been waiting over 3 years, and today we finally got the justice that Michael deserved.
Defense attorneys were seeking the minimum sentence of 10 years, citing Meeks' depression, PTSD diagnosis, and lack of social and emotional development.
Tonight, a 13-year-old boy is recovering after getting shot. The shooting happened this afternoon at the intersection of Union and Lillian in North St. Louis. The teen was shot in the backside and taken to the hospital. He is expected to be okay. Police have not said what led to the shooting or if they have any suspects. Tonight, St. Louis County Police are investigating a woman's death in Northwoods. Officers responded to a home on Edgewood Boulevard around 10:45 this morning. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. A suspect is in custody, but no charges have been filed.
New reaction tonight from St. Louis County Police, who learned today when 2 of their precincts will get an overhaul.
Construction will get underway next week for one of those precincts. Our Brent Solomon joins us now with reaction from the head of the Police Association. Brent.
And he couldn't be more excited. After all, the $27 million to make this project happen are what voters approved years ago. Now the county is set to see the results.
Well, it is a big deal. It's long overdue.
Wednesday, the news coming directly from the head of St. Louis County.
We look forward to enhancing these projects and providing appropriate space for our officers to work safely and to continue providing the level of service our residents have come to expect in St. Louis County.
Construction on a brand new South County Police Precinct will begin next week. It's coming to the site of the former Sappington Garden Shop on Gravois Road, set to open in early 2024. That's not all. North County is getting one too. Come November, construction will get underway on Dunn Road near Christian Hospital. It will open next year.
It's about time that we're getting moving on these things. The current buildings are decades old, outdated, and extremely crowded.
Officers tell me this also boils down to morale, something that can be directly impacted by your working environment.
Let's take the 3rd precinct, for example. They're in their 3rd building in 5 years. The first building they had to move out of an emergency because of mold. The 2nd building was a county building that was needed for something else, and now one of our largest precincts is in it's probably 1,000 square foot little building that they're in down off Teston Ferry, and it's just not equipped right.
It's why the County Police Association is glad to see St. Louis County investing in those who protect and serve.
We need to make sure they have the equipment they need to be successful, and part of that equipment is a police precinct where they can process suspects and to work together to solve the crimes that we deal with in our community.
The Police Association also points to officers who are leaving the profession, both locally and nationally. So making an investment in them and in the spaces where they work, he feels can help not only keep officers on the job, but attract new ones as well.
Brent, thanks. Tonight, Missourians are one step closer to paying less in income taxes. Today, during a special session, the GOP-led Senate approved a bill that would cut the top income tax rate from 5.3% to 4.95% next year. The measure also eliminates the lowest tax bracket, people who bring in less than about $1,000. The bill now goes to the Missouri House.
Tonight, borrowing money to buy a house or car using a credit card, it's about to cost you even more. In the latest effort to tame soaring inflation, the Federal Reserve today announced another 3/4 point interest rate hike. Fed Chairman Jay Powell made it clear more hikes are to come, promising the central bank won't stop until inflation goes down. This was the 5th time this year the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates. Our Verified team was asked if there are any limits on how many times the Fed can do this. Here's Brandon Lewis with the answer.
The Federal Reserve is on a mission to tame rising inflation in the U.S. and once again raised interest rates. Its Federal Open Market Committee has voted on increases at 5 of its last 6 meetings this year. A Verified viewer texted us to ask if there's an annual limit on rate hikes. So let's verify. Is there a limit to how many times the Federal Reserve can adjust interest rates? Our sources are the Federal Reserve Act, economics professor Alan Ginn, and David Wessel with the Brookings Institution. In 1913, Congress passed the Federal Reserve Act. This gave the Federal Reserve 2 jobs: to support maximum employment and to keep prices stable by holding inflation around 2%. Wessel tells Verify the law allows the Fed substantial flexibility to do its job by raising or lowering interest rates in response to changes in the economy. Simply put, a higher rate means it's more expensive to borrow money, which leads to higher rates for car loans and mortgages, which should decrease demand and help keep inflation in check. A lower rate does the opposite. All of our sources say there are no restrictions on how often or how much the Fed can raise rates. So, no, there is not a limit to how many times the Federal Reserve can adjust interest rates. Ginn tells Verify he expects the Fed will continue raising rates through the end of the year, but isn't expecting many more increases in 2023. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would you like for us to verify? Send an email, verify@ksdk.com.
A popular neighborhood grocery store in St. Charles will reopen tomorrow after a fire. The fire broke out last night in a cardboard box baler in the back of Midtown Market. The longtime store is located at the corner of Elm and Duchesne. The fire was quickly put out, but smoke did spread into the store. After cleanup today, health inspectors gave the store the green light to reopen tomorrow.
It's the president's plan to help those with student debt make ends meet.
It takes forever to pay your loan back, right? Depending on your income.
Some say it's too much, others say it's not enough. The parts of the plan being overlooked, reconnecting through disconnecting. The local schools becoming no-phone zones to combat student distraction.
The cooler air is right on schedule tonight, but we're already looking ahead to Friday night football and your weekend.
13 dogs taken from a suspected dogfighting operation in North St. Louis County have been rescued from being euthanized. The dogs were being held at the St. Louis County Animal Control Center after one of our I-Team reports. The ASPCA and 2 other local rescue groups stepped in to take the animals. They were rescued earlier this month from a home in Hanley Hills. 57-year-old Brian Macklin faces felony charges.
We're learning more tonight about the closure of a popular St. Louis restaurant that served as the center of a hit reality TV show. It was called Welcome to Sweetie Pie's, and the closure of Sweetie Pie's upper crust comes less than a week after owner Robbie Montgomery's son, Tim Norman, was convicted of masterminding the murder of her grandson, Andre Montgomery Jr.
Now it's gonna be gone, you know, and ain't gonna nothing else. And it's so sad, you know, but it's probably good because everything that's going on and everything, but yeah, it's gonna be missed.
Sweetie Pie says the closure is not about the conviction. The restaurant will be demolished to make way for a $1 billion expansion of the John Cochran VA Medical Center.
This will be an influx of over $2 billion into the local economy in St. Louis during the construction of the project. It will support approximately 9,000 full-time jobs during construction, so a great thing for the economy and for veterans.
Sweetie Pies will close for the last time Sunday at 6 p.m. There is one remaining location in Jackson, Mississippi.
A stunning admission tonight from the FDA. The agency says it mishandled the baby formula crisis that sent parents scrambling earlier this year. This comes after an internal review highlighted a number of shortcomings. The 10-page report found outdated data sharing systems, inadequate staffing, and poor insight into formula manufacturing and supply chains.
Tonight, debate continues over forgiving student debt for millions of Americans. Some argue it doesn't go far enough, while others say it's just unfair.
Anxiety is looming for those trying to figure out what will happen when they have to start paying back their loans come January. In tonight's Making Ends Meet, our Michelle Lee looks at who's most affected and what they need to know.
Elizabeth Francisco isn't one to kick a gift horse in the mouth, but
while I appreciate the effort, it feels really out of touch and kind of insulting to an extent.
She's paying off almost $150,000 in loans, her interest alone nearly $30,000. Even the maximum debt relief is just a drop in the bucket.
So you're not even making a dent in the base payments.
You know, it takes forever to pay your loan back, right? Depending on your income, it might take you 20 years or 30 years to pay your loans off.
On the flip side, seniors who still have debt are likely to be behind, and many are on fixed incomes.
There's a large portion of seniors that are in student debt that are affected by this.
Jeff Sachs with Sachs Financial says there's more to this debt relief plan that sometimes gets overlooked. First, it would cap monthly payments on undergrad debt to just 5% of discretionary income. That's currently up to 15% now. It would also forgive loans after 10 years instead of 20 for those with original balances of $12,000 or less. And it would also keep loans from growing just because of interest.
So it's really targeted to those that may need some help, especially in today's economy.
People like Elizabeth, who's an artist, a professor, and a government worker, and still struggling.
At the overhead cost of living, with what I make, I shouldn't live paycheck to paycheck. Granted, I'm a single parent and I don't collect child support, but at the same time, I should be doing much better.
Her biggest question at hand is not about what to do with student debt today. It's how to fix the problem from the very start.
Even if they don't cancel student debt, should people really be paying that much interest on a basic education?
The final plans could come down in a few weeks, and experts say don't wait to submit for forgiveness because so many people will have to start repaying their loans that were put on hold come January. And of course, you want to use the relief money before then. Back to you.
Some schools in the St. Louis region are taking action to avoid a classroom distraction. They're banning cell phones. The Jennings School District now requires students to lock up their phones in yonder pouches at the start of the day. When the final bell rings, students can walk by a device to unlock the pouch. Administrators say with constant disruptions and cyberbullying on the rise, they just had to do something.
When you don't have the pressure to want to perform, our students right now, they want to show the phones, TikTok, different videos, things like that. It really gives a different lens to instruction, so we can go a little deeper with our learning now.
School leaders say they've got great feedback from parents about this already. Other school districts like Ferguson, Florissant, and University City also have cell phone-free policies on their campuses.
Farewell summer and hello fall. We are less than 22 hours away from the autumnal equinox. This means cooler weather, changing leaves, pumpkins. You've probably seen those already out. We've compiled a full list of all the fall events around St. Louis. Just text the word fall to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you that list.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now. And Scott, it's going to feel like fall tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, big time changes for us. That change happening this evening as the cold front has come through St. Louis. With it, we've seen some showers and thunderstorms, some locally heavy rainfall, and still looking at some showers and storms out there this evening, especially east and south of St. Louis. Some of these have definitely had some heavy rain, occasionally some gusty winds. What we were seeing on radar, nothing looks severe, but we did get a couple of reports out of Freeburg, Illinois, where we had some trees down and also a building that was damaged, including an apartment roof, part of the roof damaged there, and that was in Freeburg. So we're working to get more information on that. You still have these showers and thunderstorms stretching just south of Columbia, Illinois, down towards Waterloo, then back south of Arnold, and then you go a little farther south as you go north of Farmington up towards Bonne Terre. You're getting into another cell that's a pretty good one there. Look at the rainfall. You had heavier rain down to the south from Rolla over to the east, and then in the metro east around Swansea, about 2.5 inches of rainfall. When it was coming down earlier today, it was really coming down. Take a look at these pictures. This is from Midtown in St. Louis. Quite the drenching shower and thunderstorm action sliding through the area earlier. And of course, that created some ponding on the roads, and you had to slow down, use those windshield wipers. Hopefully it washed some of the ragweed out of the air. And we certainly have cooler temperatures pushing in now as we are looking at this front down to our south. Notice, though, there are still showers. In fact, a pretty good area over northern Kansas. That's working towards the east. So this is the area that's farther out to our west that still has to work towards us, and we will see our chances for showers continuing later tonight into tomorrow with a general shift towards it being farther south of St. Louis. It is in the 60s to our north, down to 74 in St. Louis. That after a very toasty day. This was the view from Arnold looking back towards Pacific at the showers and thunderstorms that were coming at us. They just rolled right towards Arnold this afternoon, of course fueled by the heat and humidity that was already in place ahead of that cold front. Our high temperature today for the third day in a row at or above 95 degrees. That's never happened in the record books this late in the season. 96 missed the record just by a degree, 0.06 of an inch of rain at Lambert. Right now you're looking at temperatures across the area back into the 70s. Dew points down to 60. That's a huge drop from where we were earlier. Overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, the focus will tend to shift south of St. Louis. So we'll have showers, we think, mainly south of town when we wake up tomorrow morning. Then they tend to push away. We'll have a variably cloudy, breezy afternoon, cool temperatures holding in the 60s. Biz Dash is happening tomorrow evening downtown St. Louis. Oh, this is going to be a great evening for a 5K run. Look at those temperatures in the 60s. You can't beat it. And then as we head towards the Friday night football games, while we have some showers approaching us, they'll tend to fade as they get closer to us. So it's only a slight chance heading towards Friday evening for a few of us to get wet. But boy, you'll have that fall football feel with highs only on the 60s on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, well, we warm up Saturday, but there's another front that comes through Saturday night. Breezy on Sunday, back into the 70s and 70s for highs most of next week. Truly a taste of autumn.
Fall is arriving just right on time, very punctual. All right, Scott, thank you. Corey Miller has what's coming up in sports.
Well, as hot as it was today in St. Louis, you could say just about the opposite when it comes to this Cardinals offense. But we've still got a lot to talk about from San Diego. Stick around for sports.
Chasing 700 is sponsored by CarShield.
Coming into tonight's game, the Cardinals hadn't scored an earned run in their last 34 innings. The offense has decided to go into hibernation at the exact wrong time. The Cardinals do have the highest OPS against lefties in all of baseball this year, and they were hoping to get back on track against the lefty tonight in San Diego. Not going great so far. You'd think Blake Snell would be the curse for the Cards Blues. You'd be wrong. Here he strikes out Albert, who's hitless tonight, as is the rest of the Cardinals through 6 innings, something to keep an eye on. Padres get a run in the second on this RBI single from Austin Nola, and right now that's good enough for the lead. Padres are winning 1-0 in the 6th. Like I said, no hitter for Snell right now. Well, for years, when you heard Hell's Bells by AC/DC at Petco Park, you knew the game was likely already over. That was because Hall of Famer closer Trevor Hoffman was coming in. This season, the Cardinals have a dominant closer of their own, and he's channeling some of those Hoffman vibes. Helsley has thrown 103 miles per hour, has only allowed 8 runs all year, and now has his own Hell's Bells show to enter a game. And he loves his new theatrical entrance at Busch Stadium.
I think it's really cool. You know, I'd never really watched baseball growing up. Had no idea that was his song or anything like that. And but it's been cool to use that song and have the fans, you know, get excited.
All right, let's talk about this Cardinals outfield for a second. It certainly hasn't played out quite how the team envisioned it at the start of the season. When he hasn't been hurt this year, Tyler O'Neill has underperformed. Harrison Bader is now a New York Yankee, as you just saw. And Dylan Carlson has regressed from his previous season. Down in the minors, the Cardinals have moved uber prospect Jordan Walker to the outfield to help fast-track him to the big leagues. And while it may not be time to talk about 2023 just yet, John Mozeliak admitted to us that Walker could push his way into the plans faster than initially thought.
You know, I think he had a really good year, and we're really excited with what we're seeing, but the good news is we don't have to rush that. But if someone asked me if I had to put my life on it, do I think he'll be in the big leagues at some point in 2023? It wouldn't surprise me.
2022 has been a racing fan's dream in St. Louis. Worldwide Technology Raceway has already hosted NASCAR and IndyCar, and next week the NHRA comes back to town. The Midwest Nationals for the NHRA will run September 30th through October 2nd. The annual drag racing weekend is always a big hit in town, and they're doing it even larger this year, with Friday night featuring a concert and fireworks show. As a host of NASCAR, IndyCar, and the NHRA in the same year, Worldwide Technology Raceway finds itself in a league of its own.
Well, it's very unique for the track. It's unique in the United States, and for our region to be the host and the only host in the country for those 3 events is really something that speaks to the strength of our market. We started it off strong with the NASCAR Cup race, and we plan on really finishing it strong with the NHRA.
Every week for 5 on Your Sideline, we try to bring you some of the most interesting matchups in town. And that's what we've got this Friday. Our game of the week features Duchesne from St. Charles coming all the way to the city to face St. Mary's, the defending state champs. Now, Duchesne knows they've got their work cut out for them. It's going to be a big test for the Pioneers against the Dragons. St. Mary's is averaging 42 points a game this year. But 2-2 Duchesne isn't intimidated, and they know this challenge will pay off later in the year.
Being a Class 1 school and playing the schedule we play, we're going to be battle tested week after week after week. But we're not going to see a St. Mary's in the playoffs. We're not going to see a MICDS in the playoffs. So if we can rise to the challenge of these guys and play for 4 quarters like we played for 3.5 against Cardinal Ritter, we'll give ourselves a chance.
Like I said, Blake Snell throwing a no-hitter right now against the Cardinals. Ironically, the last Cardinals no-hitter was 2001. Bud Smith threw it in San Diego. So hopefully we don't see that tonight from the other side.
That's a long time ago. All right, Corey, thanks.
He's an Oscar-winning actor. Now Missouri native Brad Pitt is showing his other artistic side.
The old Missouri National Guard Armory in Midtown is getting a new lease on life. The 250,000 square foot building is being transformed into a multi-entertainment and sports venue. The Armory will feature a 60-foot concert stage, 6 bars, and more than 40 interactive games. It opens December 9th.
Missouri native Brad Pitt is using his creativity on a whole new medium. This week, he debuted 9 sculptures at an art exhibition in Finland. The Hollywood A-lister says his artistic turn was born out of self-reflection and taking ownership of his mistakes in the wake of his divorce from Angelina Jolie.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Eli Manning is Jimmy's guest. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.